Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the regular open meeting of the United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation. Today's date is Tuesday, March 11th, time 9:30 a.m. here in boardroom, and also we are available through virtual meeting. And, the address here is Laguna Woods Village Community Center, 24351 El Toro Road, Laguna Woods, California. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the regular United Mutual Board meeting in accordance with Civil Code 4930 and is held by notice in accordance with Civil Code 4920. Welcome to the meeting. My name is Mickey Choi Ho. I'd like to have a pledge of allegiance to the flag, and it's going to be led by Director Collins.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any media present here? I don't see it, but we are on TV6. Camera is on, and also we are being recorded by Granicus. Approval of the agenda. Is there any motion to approve the agenda as is? Yes?
I so move.
Okay. Second? Any objection? No objection, so approved.
Madam Chair,
Yes?
can we ask everyone to turn off their electronic devices?
Yes,
Thank
please. Right. Please turn off your electric devices, particularly phone. Beautiful singing and music stuff we don't need at this time. Thank you. Approval of minutes, meeting minutes. Is there any objection to approve the minutes as presented, February 11th, 2025, and February 27th? No objection. Hearing none, so approved. Well, last week we celebrated Women's Day, I believe. And on March 8th, Saturday, it was International Women's Day. This year's theme, Call for Action, is very important for all women and girls' rights and equality. It's been celebrating 30 years of that International Women's Day. This year is very important in the global pursuit of gender equality and women's empowerment, as it marks the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, adopted at the Fourth World Conference on Women in 1995 in Beijing, China, by 189 governments. The Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action remains the most progressive and widely endorsed blueprint for women's and girls' rights worldwide. The platform guides policies, programs, and investment that impact critical areas of our lives, such as education, health, peace, media, political participation, economic empowerment, and the elimination of violence against women and girls. Addressing these issues, along with emerging priorities around climate justice and power of digital technologies, is urgent, with just 5 years left to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. The reason why I pay much attention is that I read the article that in the United States, only 1974, women can open the credit card account by herself. Can you believe it? It was after I came to this country after college, So it's been only 50 years of women's, I don't know about liberation, but still in this country, women get paid, what, 83 cents per man pay $1. And the rest of the groups of we like Hispanics and colored women, are much, much lesser than that. So I don't know, Siobhan, we have any kind of statistics in VMS? Do we have any ratio between women and men wages?
We do, and, not wages. I thought you were going to talk about demographics.
Oh, okay. All right. But anyway, here in United Mutuals, the board, without women, we cannot do anything. But of course, we really appreciate our male partnership.
And we all get paid,
We all get paid the same thing.
Exactly. Thank you for that. Anyway, talking about wages and finance, this is finance season. Our treasurer is working very hard to work with audits with Third Mutual and GLF. Our audits are in progress. And after April, all the audit will be processed, finished, and presented to our whole board. And then after that, when the board approves the whole audit process, then we will get the copy to send to the resident, and we will look into it. And of course, after that, not after that, we already start the budget season. So preliminary budget for all the areas like maintenance and construction and finance, and also the landscaping, the preliminary data is in, and every department are working very diligently, and all the calendar of the budget process is in print. So I suggest every resident, not only board members, resident, pay attention to it and look into the business plan, the numbers from previous years, and the numbers that it will be presented to us. And you are all invited to come and input, bring your inputs, and which area that we need to cut, we need to improve, anything like that. It's all the process. It's until August. The final version, 2 and 3, budget will be presented in September. The finally board will finalize and adopt new budget for 2026 and get all the plan for next year. So I'd like for you to be attentive of that process and be involved. Okay. And one thing that I like to read, rules of decorum, because not only for the board members, we all already know, but it's not bad that we could review every time. And also it applies to the resident and who wants to speak and in the audience. And number 1, speakers must conduct themselves in a civil and respectful manner at all times. Members must be recognized by the chair before speaking, and all member comments shall be addressed to the chair, and members shall refrain from discussing personalities or making personal attacks. Speakers shall not use profanity or obscene language. The audience shall not engage in disruptive behavior. The audience shall refrain from private conversation during meetings, and members should come and go as necessary from the meeting room in the least disruptive manner possible. And everyone shall follow the rules of decorum. Thank you very, very much. Okay, now it's open forum time, and 3 minutes per speaker is allowed. At this time, members only may address the board of directors regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of this board of directors, which is Unite Mutual. The board reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for the open forum to 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum. Speakers may not give their time to other people. No audio or video recording by attendance, and no rude or threatening comments Members can attend the meeting by joining the Zoom link, which is written on the agenda, or call 669-900-6833, or email meeting@vmsinc.org to have your message reading during the open meeting. Do we have any open meeting speakers?
Yes, we have quite a few today. First is Chris Collins.
Good morning, Chris Collins, 3306Q, and I'm here with an update on the work of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village that we do on behalf of residents that are experiencing temporary financial crisis. So 2024 was a very busy year for the foundation. As the village's own local charity, we continue to provide temporary financial assistance to residents who are facing financial challenges. In addition, we work to improve the quality of life for all residents with some focused programs. And to increase awareness of the help that we provide, we want to share some of our accomplishments as we begin defining our goals for the coming year. So first of all, we selected loneliness as our 2024 focus to counter social isolation that was stemming from the pandemic and foster greater social interaction. We instituted a bus lunch nutrition connection program to increase social interaction, this was at the Florence Sylvester Senior Center, and it provided free lunch for 1 month for residents arriving by village bus. And it was piloted first at the towers, and then it was offered village-wide. And over 50 residents participated, and after the 1 month free lunch, some residents continued with the program. We completed work on the 2023-24 Memorial Care Grant, providing emergency response devices to fall risk residents, with approximately 80 now rented. And we can attribute that to saving the life of a 94-year-old woman. We continued to provide free fall prevention classes with a Memorial Care for residents. We received a second Memorial Care grant this past November to provide financial assistance to residents who are needing hearing aids. And 5 are participants right now. And the hearing loss is a major cause of social isolation, and it also increases the risk of dementia. So residents can apply for help through social services. We organized and conducted free hearing screening for residents, and there were 30 that were screened. We participated in the Village 60th Anniversary Celebration. We participated in Village Peace Day. We completed the last Planning for the Inevitable video on subject of hospice care, and all 8 of these videos may be reviewed on our website. We developed and publicized the Foundation's first Good Neighbor program to provide village clubs to increase social interaction, and 5 clubs were funded and activities were completed. And we also distributed holiday cheer gift cards to approximately 130 residents. And in total, we provided $210 in financial aid, including grocery and gift cards, gas cards, to village residents facing financial challenges. So if you're interested in any of this, you can go to our website and find out more about this. It's the Foundation of LagunaWoodsVillage.org. Thank you. That was long.
Thank
Talking
you very
fast.
much. Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your work.
Next speaker is Dr. Elizabeth Romano.
Thank you. I'm here for some information on a fiduciary base. My understanding and what I've heard and overheard is that we don't have our funds in a banking account. My understanding is that we have bags where the resources for this mutual is kept. And I think that it's important that it go into a legal account if that is the case. And just to bring you up to date too on, I was here at the last meeting and I was removed from the meeting, and that is going to result in a kidnapping charge because I was kept in a room back there for over an hour. Thank you.
Point of order.
Thank you.
Would you like to address the bag thing? No? Okay.
No. Thank you very much for your suggestion. All right, next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Marlene Coven.
Okay, thank you for the use of this. We were here a few weeks ago, and the committee denied our request for a red spot, a red line across from our carport area. It's impossible to park in our carport when the village trucks are parked there and cars are parked there. You cannot pull in. We have to go in the other lane, and it's impossible to pull into the carport from the lane that's parallel to the carport. Our homeowners includes one carport parking spot, but we don't have free access because the village trucks are parked there and other vehicles are parked there. My husband has Parkinson's, and he's not well enough to be here today. I have cardiomyopathy. I have an enlarged heart. We have handicap plates on our cars, and we still can't pull in, and it's causing stress. We go out to the doctor's office, we come back, cars are parked there to go in and out. We're not asking for special accommodations, just reasonable ones for which we are already paying. So I'd like to read this. HOAs are required to make reasonable accommodations in their rules and policies as necessary to afford a disabled person the ability to use and enjoy their dwelling. California Civil Code 4760. If an HOA denies a homeowner's request for a reasonable accommodation related to a disability, it could be considered discrimination under the Fair Housing Act, FHA, potentially allowing the homeowners to file a complaint with the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, or take legal action against the HOA, as FHA mandates that HOAs must provide reasonable accommodations for disabled residents when necessary to enjoy their dwelling. Well, I finished it before 2 minutes. So
Thank you
please
very
consider
much.
that
Thank you.
in my
Thank you.
actions.
Okay. Thank you so much. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Hassan Kafshi.
Good morning. I'm
morning.
resident of 856 Unit B, and the issue is the EV charging. And it's been about a year and a half that I've been using the electrical outlet, and it's not a problem. It hasn't been a problem until another individual moved to our community, and then both of us at the same time, it's impossible to charge. First of all, it takes an hour to charge for 4 miles. Imagine it takes about 12 hours or so to have enough mileage during the day. And we have explored all of the options as far as scheduling among ourselves different days, different nights, but unfortunately it's not working. And the reason it's not working is my schedule is different from that schedule. I don't want to go into the detail. It's just not working. And we also explored other options of charging other places, and that's not working. As a resident, I believe we are paying for the charging of our cars, and we cannot do that. And it's an issue. It's a problem. And it's going to get even worse as we move forward, where more residents are purchasing EVs. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Next speaker.
Next speaker is Kathy Bravata.
Handouts. Only because I want to read it and not look up and not show everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you. Georgiana, you know about this. You live next to me. Would you like that? Yes. I have an extra one. So I'm Kathy Bravata, 864 Ronda Mendoza, and I'm just simply going to read this, and you can look at the pictures and everything. So, good morning, directors. I have concerns regarding our common area and building 864 Ronda Mendoza. A short story about the trees, shrubs being, I can't read that word, copies attached. Last April, I brought up the fact that trees in our area, I brought up trees that were dead to Kurt. Kurt looked into this, and it was determined that they needed to be removed. In October, they were removed. In December, my neighbor, I can't read my own writing. In December, and I printed, in December, we asked if we could put in a golf cart parking at the very bottom because we have so many golf carts in our area. And at the January 21st meeting, that request was turned down. However, Director Troy Ho suggested something be planted and not to leave it as dirt. After a month and a half, I put in a ticket on 3-4 to have water-resistant plants put in, and ticket number SA220092223. And Maribel Flores contacted me that same day. However, we spoke on Wednesday, 3-5 in the morning. She informed me that they were working on putting in a sprinkler system, which I don't understand that. And then the planting. I was surprised as I didn't think it was feasible. Nonetheless, Maribel stated that was what was going to happen. On March the 5th at 1:09 p.m., I was in the director's meeting, Maribel left me a voice message, which I still have on my phone if you want to hear it, saying she received additional information and it is likely not to be approved. Maribel said this is going to be brought up at the next landscape meeting, which is at the end of this month, which I will attend. So what my concern is, and what is to be recommended, not installing a sprinkler system, which we never wanted, or is it not to put in any water-resistant plants down in that area, which is why I gave you guys pictures. I also gave you a copy of my ticket that I put in, and then I received on the very last page, you'll see the Laguna Woods Village service completion. And I opened the survey, I responded to the first question, but I did not respond to the other 4 questions because no work has actually been completed. Down at the bottom, it gives you an opportunity to put comments. So I did put in some comments which simply state that resident services did help me, but that no work has been completed. And then when I tried to send it, it rejected my sending it because I did not fill in all 5 of the boxes. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Any more speakers?
Yes, we have a couple more. Actually, we have 2 of them that are going to be on the consent calendar, but this last one here is for open forum, will be an email. This is from Janet Churiano. Let's see here. I feel that the carport cleaning is useless. It's an expense that we don't need to be paying as a resident. As they do is blow out the garage, which is ridiculous because of an hour later, the leaves are back inside from cars, golf carts driving by. The money could be spent on better use, maybe better gardeners, or saved in the association dues, which aren't going up astronomical every year. And that's it.
Thank you. Any more comments? Okay, do we have any responses to the speakers?
I will
Siobhan?
follow up on 3 items. That
Okay.
is the request for the red curb, the EV charging matter, and the landscaping item that Kathy just spoke of.
Okay, all right. Any more response? Yes, so,
Madam President,
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I did not hear you, Paul, when you were speaking about that one issue. So don't reread it. Everybody else probably got it. But if you could forward that to me, and I'll just read it after the meeting so that I understand what was requested. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Any more response? Yes, Mary?
I'd like to ask Kathy a question. Was there any mention of the source of the water that was going to provide that sprinkler system?
No, and that's why if you look at those trees, why they're dead. I believe it was either Victor or Vincent who came by in October, and I took him downstairs, and he literally pushed on the one tree, and it fell over. He pushed on the other one, and it also moved quite a bit. So my father owned the unit I'm in for 19 years, and the tree has always been dead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And can you make me understand what area of United this is in?
This is at,
864.
if you know, all of the units over in my cul-de-sac 85 are 2-story. But we also have a 3rd level that goes all the way downstairs in case you want to park in the back of our unit because we need additional parking. Someone and I don't know if it's maintenance or not, occasionally will bring a very short hose, and they would water the trees or the plants, but that hose was never left there on a regular basis. So it is a common area. That's why we were thinking maybe doing golf carts for additional parking, but it would be dangerous, blocking the stairs all the way up. So water-resistant plants, that may not need a lot of water, maybe maintenance can just water them once
that's
a
right.
month or something.
Thank you.
Yes, we will follow up.
Sue will be looking at this.
Right.
Yes, yeah, we will.
Okay, Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to compliment Chris Collins. My wife and I did take advantage of that free lunch offer at the Sylvester Senior Center.
Right.
We went to Clubhouse 1, took the C1 bus to there, had the lunch, and it was a great opportunity, and there was entertainment there. The food was great, so I'd like to thank Memorial Care and Chris Collins and for making that available to my wife. It was very enjoyable. We went up the whole month, and we didn't spend a dime because we took the C1 bus up there, and it picked us back up and took us right back to Clubhouse 1. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Ms. Carlson?
Yes, Kathy Bravata. One other comment I have is that without any plant material in there, that's a two-story building. I'm familiar with it, right? And when it rains, it's going to splash and hit that dirt and just splash against the walls. And then what'll happen is awful is if we get a good rainstorm, the mud will just slip onto the sidewalk, and that makes a hazard. So, but you can telegraph that to the landscape committee when you go there, and Siobhan also said she was going to address that issue. I don't think it needs a sprinkler system there. It just needs some taller plants.
And we don't know why that was even recommended.
Thank you. We will follow up. Any other comments? Yes, Charlie?
Thank you, Madam President. The email from Janet, is that who it was? The last item?
Yeah.
About carport?
Yes, carport
cleaning and stuff?
cleaning, yeah.
I did a little response to her. I do hear that from a lot of people about the cleaning of carports, that it doesn't go well, and actually, I will have a tendency to agree with her, and I think that we should look at that very closely in the very near future.
Thank you. Any more comments? All right, then we will have a response to past open forum speakers by Director Blackwell. Please.
Thank you. Chris Collins at Manor 3306Q gave the foundation update, and we appreciated that. Maxine McIntosh expressed her gratitude and appreciation to the board members, and that statement was received, and we thank her for her support and her many years of service. Elizabeth Romano at 2035A talked about retaliation against her, but there is no retaliation issue against Ms. Romano. Thank you. I'd like to say that all the televisions are under the control of GRF. So next time, she's usually concerned about televisions, but those are all under the control of GRF. None are under the control of United. Thank you. That's the report.
Thank you very much. All right, let's move on to the next page. Item number 9, CEO report.
Thank you, Honorable President, members of the board. This morning, I would like to share key updates from BMS departments. We're going to start with the 2026 business plan. As President Choi Ho just mentioned, the 2026 budget development process is underway. It started in January with mutual and GRF committees reviewing capital proposals, and it will continue in April and May when staff develops the first version of the budget, which the boards review in May and June. In July, version 2 will be reported to the boards and be available to all residents to review. In August, version 3 of the budget is presented via televised meetings, and in September, the final adoption is tentatively scheduled at your regular board meeting. On the screen before you is the budget schedule so far. These meetings have been completed. You will see the many presentations and discussions with the United Third and GRF committees. On the next slide is the look ahead at upcoming United and other key budget meetings. GRF Capital Review will occur on Wednesday, May 14th at 1:30 p.m. GRF Operating Department Review will occur on Wednesday, May 28th at 1:30 p.m. The United Maintenance and General Services Review takes place on Thursday, May 22nd at 1:30 p.m. The United Landscape Review on Monday, June 2nd at 9:30 a.m. and the United Budget Workshop on Monday, June 9th at 9:30 a.m. All meetings are here in the boardroom. Switching to security services, we're excited to share that security is working on participation in the Orange County Real-Time Operations Center. The Operations Center is a state-of-the-art hub where law enforcement analyzes real-time data from multiple sources. This enhances the Sheriff's Department policing strategy, enables faster, safer, and more effective responses to crime. Advanced technology provides deputies with real-time intelligence, improving decision-making, and prioritizing community and officer safety. Key benefits of participation includes live situational awareness during incidents, faster response and resource allocation, enhanced investigations of suspects, and vehicle identification. And most importantly for us here in the village, this may save up to 500 hours of staff time that is currently spent reviewing videotapes to provide to the Sheriff's Department for crime analysis. So our officers will be out in the community more. Security is, there is a phased approach to implementation. Phase 1 would integrate the village gate cameras with the RTOC. Phase 2 would expand to other high-value surveillance areas within the village identified by the Sheriff's Department. Phase 3 would deploy additional fixed and temporary cameras in crime-prone areas. This participation in the RTOC should result in improved emergency response coordination and maximize security efficiency, as I already said, by reducing the need for our officers to review videotapes and then provide them to the Sheriff's Department, because the Sheriff's Department will have that feed directly. The Informational Services Department is currently updating the community website by gathering feedback to enhance usability and accessibility. They're prioritizing easier service requests, key contacts, and guest registration, and continue to refine search functionality. Highlights from landscaping services include tree trimming is currently taking place in Aliso Creek. This started last week, and this will continue over the next couple of weeks. The affected areas are concentrated in designated parts where there are dense tree coverage near pathways and residential zones. Work is focused on reducing fire fuel and minimizing potential coyote habitats, ensuring a safer environment for both residents and local wildlife. The 2025 Aliso Creek Maintenance and Compliance Cycle has been planned and is upcoming. Scheduled maintenance will include spring, summer, and winter 2025 removal of invasive plants, such as cattails and other non-native species for flood control and habitat preservation. In terms of wildlife protections, the southwestern pond turtle is now a federally threatened species. This requires stricter monitoring, separate pre-maintenance surveys, and additional reporting to the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. And there is a new mitigation requirement for when native plant removals take place. Also, in terms of landscaping services, slope and tree maintenance features increased slope maintenance in 2025 to 3 cycles per year, with new plantings to be added, and there will be more trees trimmed in 2025 than previous years. In terms of shrub maintenance, United will have 4 cycles this year. In terms of fire regulation, the department is collaborating with OCFA on new fire regulations expected to be released and passed later this spring. The team will adjust as needed once regulations are finalized, and the annual OCFA inspection will occur this month. As a reminder, weekly garden clipping pickups are available for resident garden trimming, such as branches, leaves, and debris. Please schedule these by Thursday noon for Friday morning pickup by contacting Resident Services either by email at residentservices@vmsinc.org or by calling 949-597-4600. In furtherance of emergency preparedness, residents are encouraged to have an emergency go bag at the ready. If I could get the next slide, please. Pack the go bag with essentials for rapid evacuation, plus prescription glasses, pet supplies, and other items specific to your household. Keep the bag easily accessible by the door or in your vehicle, light enough to carry. Check and refresh the bag regularly, and recommended contents are shown on the screen before you, but include things such as a portable phone charger, a few days' supply of medications, water and non-perishable food, flashlight and extra batteries, cash and small bills, clothing, and so forth. Additionally, we are encouraging residents to also be prepared to stay put, having a well-stocked stay kit in case the emergency requires staying put instead of evacuating. We recommend the inclusion of a 3-day supply of essentials as a good starting point. Again, please be prepared with water, 1 gallon per person per day, and food, medications and eyeglasses, flashlights, battery-powered radio, batteries and chargers, and so forth. Residents are also encouraged to stay alert and informed by enrolling in Code Red, the Village Emergency Alert System. You can do this by visiting lagunawoodsvillage.com and clicking on the Sign Up Today under the Code Red icon at the bottom right-hand corner of any page. You may also register through your resident portal. Residents are also encouraged to enroll in Orange County's mass notification system, known as Alert OC, and this is available on the Orange County Gov website at ocgov.com/about-county/emergency. And you can stay informed about local fires by visiting ocfa.org or following the OCFA Fire Authority activity on X, formerly known as Twitter. In terms of security services, they are also hosting a bicycle registration day. This occurs on Friday, March 21st at Clubhouse 4 from 10 a.m. to noon. This offers residents the chance to help keep your bike safe from thieves. Bring your bicycle to the event, and security services will take a photo of your bike and its serial number and add this information to the department's database. Residents may also register bikes on their own by completing a bicycle registration form and emailing it to chief@vmsinc.org. This form is available on the website under Resident Services. And lastly, free tax preparation services are available. This IRS certified service has operated for 25+ years under the Volunteer Tax Assistance Initiative. 12,000 residents were served last year. Appointments are Tuesday through Thursday in the community center on the 3rd floor. Information and scheduling is available through thepcclub.org, taxes@thepcclub.org, or by calling 949-391-9718 and leaving a voicemail message. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Siobhan. Is there any question? Okay, Nancy.
I think we did 1,200 tax returns last year, not 12,000.
I'm enthusiastic. Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, Tony. Oh.
My second question is, and I can't remember, the information in here on this Be Ready is excellent. And is it consolidated like a button on the website that we can?
Yes, it's all in one place, and we're partnering with the Foundation of Chris We're Still Here to make sure we get it out widely to our community, both those that are easy to reach and more difficult to reach.
It's excellent because you can go to that one button and then get all the, great, terrific, thank you, so good, well done.
Okay, Tony, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On slide number 6 there, just information, some reassurance that we're going to let our system, our gate system, our FD system, we're going to share that with the county. I want to make sure that there's no exposure to our system to some outside hackers. Have we dealt with that as a possibility?
We are aware that the data that the OC Sheriff's Department receives is very secure, but I can get the details and share that with you. Eric Nunez, our security director, is leading this effort, and I'll have Eric respond to that specifically. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maggie, hand was no? Oh, okay, then. Mary, please.
I would like to particularly express our appreciation to the PC Club for all the time and effort and people that donate to help with our taxes, and thank you for that. Yeah.
Thank you. Charlie?
Thank you, Madam President. I have one quick question. It was actually related to your last CEO report. There was some wording that you used regarding maintenance to the Third Mutual's lawn. They have a permanent group, and United has not a permanent group. What between those two, what's the difference?
This year, the third board elected to have a dedicated mowing crew and then shift some added resources to shrub bed maintenance. So they'll have an increased frequency in shrub bed maintenance this year.
Okay.
So they allocated additional resources.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, comments? Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to next one, GLF representative update. She is not here. Actually, Ellen was volunteering to come make some GLF presentation, and I think the board chair approved it, and I don't know whether she was notified or not.
We were not given any directive, so
Okay.
our assumption was she was
Okay.
coming.
For the next one, then
Yeah.
probably, right? Okay. All right, let's move on to consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are recommended for action by committees and will be enacted by the board by one motion. In the event that an item is removed from the consent calendar by members of the board, such item shall be the subject of further discussion and action by the board. Is any item that you want to remove from the consent calendar? There are some speakers, right? The resident who wants to speak. So then do we have to remove it?
You can still make a motion to approve, but then allow them to come up and speak. And if there's
Okay.
further discussion, you can remove it off the consent calendar.
Okay, so,
Motion to approve
okay,
the consent calendar?
all right, any second? All right, and any objection?
Could you repeat the motion?
Okay, I just approve the consent calendar first, and if there's anybody who could speak, then come speak. But we like to,
No removals.
no removers. Yes, Tom?
Yeah, before we vote on it, we need the speakers.
Okay,
Yes,
right,
yes.
yes.
Discussion.
Okay, let's have a discussion then.
Our first speaker is Ms. Marilyn Murray.
Okay,
I am a 25-year resident, and I have never been up here before.
welcome. Welcome on board.
Last May, I got everyone in my cul-de-sac to sign. I live in cul-de-sac 55, and when you drive in, there's a dumpster right there.
Okay.
So everyone signed, because we would like to have this lovely cover put on top of our dumpster. There is one in cul-de-sac 67, if you guys would like to go look at it. There was a meeting in July, and nothing was done about this. Then there was a meeting last week in February. Nothing was still done. I'd like to know whether it
One. We
can be
denied
done
it.
or not.
It was denied. It was denied.
E1 denied.
It was
Yes.
denied.
Okay, there is an item E1 on the consent calendar.
Right.
And we discussed it, and it was denied.
So no cover.
Right, just so people know, it sounds so flat when we just say it was denied. There were a lot of considerations about it.
Sure.
A, the expense, if you do it for one, you've got to do it for everybody. And it's a pretty expensive
It
proposition.
was $8,000, I was told.
So every trash,
Well, you don't have to do every trash. Mine is out in the open there.
well, I think
No,
our,
as was, it was $15,000.
yes, correct.
Right.
It wasn't 8,000, it was
Right.
15.
It was 8,000 when the other one was done.
That was a long
Welcome
time
to
ago.
inflation.
Right.
Anyway, there was more to it. We
Yeah.
did consider it
Right,
extensively.
yeah, we have a very, very complete discussion, and we spent a lot of time, and yes, we respect that, and we try our best, but the conclusion was that we cannot grant the permission.
Okay, but as I drive and walk around, I go to cul-de-sac 9. You guys spent $200,000 there on making a little park area. Cul-de-sac 10 has this lovely wall. cul-de-sac 67. They do nothing in my cul-de-sac, nothing. Actually, I raked up leaves and branches the other day and called and have them come pick them up. And the guy said to me, "Oh, gee, that's great exercise for you." I'm 83 years old. I go to the gym.
Thank you.
In 25
Thank you
years, I've
very
seen
much.
everything go downhill here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, any other speaker?
Well, yes, last speaker is Roberta Burke.
Okay. That's E3, right? Yes, E3 item, Roberta.
If I may, you're being asked today to reject the request that I made for a light.
Right.
And my feeling personally was that it's because wrong information was given to the board members at that meeting, and there was no understanding of the area. So if I may take your time, this is the area. This is the creek, the last house, my house, the last house on the creek. The creek runs straight to the gate. The property has no walkway in front of it and turns towards inside the property and comes around and goes uphill again. There's a house above that has a light all the years I'm living here that was put in by PCM. This is my unit here. This is the creek slope that goes down. All of this area is the area we're talking about. You were told that it's the walkway along the creek. So if you would be, this is what it looks like in real life, if any of you can see it. I had sent it, oh, there they are. That's the picture. This is the picture that I have here. This is the area that I'm talking about. The creek is on the other side of this slope down here. This is a water runoff that goes right down to the creek, which is over here. That water runoff is very deep. So when somebody is in there, you don't necessarily see them unless they're exceptionally tall. So having this makes a wonderful way for people to come in or go out to get through the creek gate and that entire area. I would like to have a light a little bit to the left of this. It interferes with no building. It interferes with no windows of anybody except mine. And we now know, I have this whole written thing here, but there was somebody that showed up at 2 o'clock in the morning on the bench right in the back. Oh, where'd it go? Right in the back of the enclosed area, the enclosed room. That's what started this light. I'm here 25 years, and I've been here often.
Thank you.
But as
Right.
participant.
Yes, we've been discussed, and I think
There is, excuse me?
Oh, go ahead.
No.
Finish your.
What I wanted to say is it's a known fact by security that that area is prone to having people from outside, especially in the social environment we live in now, having drug communities and homeless communities. And we have bathrooms, and I tend to think that a lot of them come in to just not use the toilets necessarily, but to use the water to wash and stuff like that. I'm not sure about that, but that's what I do believe.
Thank you. Time's up. Time's up. Time's up. 3 minutes. Yes. Okay, Manuel is here, so can you come up and explain the process? And we've been really considering this issue in the MNC committee, very
Can I just make one line, one sentence?
Yes.
I don't understand, since security knows it's an issue. They're down there with cameras checking every single night. I don't understand, without looking at it, that you can actually make a decision not to put a light there. Would you sneak into an area that's all lit up? No. And I really feel that the information given by MNC was totally wrong.
Thank you.
It's not a walkway light, and I want you to please understand that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Manuel, can you please explain?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of the board. The MNC committee did review this request at their recent meeting. We did go out and review the request, and the committee did consider the request to add lighting to the building, not the walkway, the building. The committee, based on staff's recommendation, voted to deny the request, but suggested to the member that if they wanted to, they could put their own floodlight on their building or on their alteration patio cover at their expense, as anyone else in the community could do. We did look the entire stretch of the creek area. In our opinion, it is adequately lighted. The area that the resident is referencing, she's correct, it is the end of the walkway area. However, my understanding is security has repeatedly checked on the complaints for loitering or outside people gathering in that area. They have not found anything to support that recently, but I can get our security director to look at that again and confirm it, but that's what was reported to us. We feel the area is comparable lighting to other areas in the community. We still do not recommend adding any additional lighting. The member has the option of installing their own external light on outside their door, the back of their unit. There's an alteration patio there that could take another light. And so that's what the committee considered, and the committee recommended to the board that they deny the request.
Thank you. Nancy?
For the record, when was the last time security looked at it? Just
I don't have that information, but it was recent. It was after the member initiated the request to have security go out and look at it. They did. They didn't find any encampment. They didn't find any traces of anybody living in the creek area or anything like that.
Thank you. Yes, Charlie?
Thank you, Madam President. I do walk that area quite often, and I did go by there since all this was going by, and I did notice that the resident does have two lights on the top of their enclosure. Thank you. The enclosure. If they're working or not, I don't know. There's one in the middle, and there's one at the end, and they have motion sensors on them also. So I don't know if those are working or not, but they do have lighting there. It may not be functioning. I'm not sure.
May I respond? They function, but...
No question and answer, please. Your time's up, and we understand. Right, please.
I have a question.
Right.
I have a question.
Okay.
And I'll address this to Manuel. The lights that Charlie's referring to, were those put in by Laguna Woods, or were they put in by possibly a previous owner on the? Well, that could be the reason why the lights aren't working.
Yeah, no, they're not mutual owned. They were installed as alterations.
That's correct.
Okay.
And similar lights could be installed on the other side of the building where the member is requesting.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Answers
Any
my
other
question.
Discussion? Yes?
Just a
Marie?
comment that it's much easier to install a light on a building than it is out on the walkway. So that's two
It's
sides of
already
that
there.
coin.
So it's already there by the owner, so. Anyway, if I remember correctly, when the discussion was done, the resident was sharing the concerns during our town hall meeting. The securities were there. Actually, the subject of the discussion was security issue. So I think the security are aware of it, and they kind of, verbally promised that they're going to make a patrol as often as they can. So, all right. Any other questions and discussion about this issue?
If the resident wanted to add her own personal lights, she would go through alterations to do that, or she could just do that?
It depends on the project. Yes.
Yeah, they should come to the Manor Alterations Department and get an over-the-counter mutual consent. Very easy, very quick.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more question regarding this consent agenda items? Okay, hearing none. Are we ready to approve the consent agenda as is?
Yes.
Okay, no objection. So approved. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's move on to unfinished business. Disciplinary update report, item number 11. Hello.
Good morning,
We missed
Madam
you last
President.
month.
Hi, thank you. So before you is agenda item 11A, the member disciplinary updates report. This is for the breakdown, or the table that you have in your packet is for the breakdown of December to February of this, December last year and February of this year. We started the month with 286 cases, and we finished the month with 317 cases. The noteworthy items that I want to bring your attention to is the delinquencies. They are trending up. We also, at the beginning, last week, we sent out a large amount of disciplinary notices for delinquent accounts. We are working with the Financial Services Department in order to get the members either, if they have a dispute, that the dispute might be resolved, or put in a payment plan. Or if there's no response and there's still no payment, then we bring them into your disciplinary hearings committee. So that's where we're at with that one, and that's the only one that seems to be different or seems to not be on trend with the list of categories. And that concludes my report. So I'm available for questions if the board has any.
Any question? Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just curious, on these delinquencies, do we have any ideas it's people running out of money, we're living too long, or is it just negligence?
I will need to consult my crystal ball, which is out of commission right now.
But we should have a feel on that. If people are unable to pay their monthly assessments, if it's something that's going to grow, I'd like to get a handle on that now. Thank you.
It's not information that on the compliance side of it we would have. I would imagine that there might be a few that will get all the way to a disciplinary hearing where the committee could have that dialogue with the resident, but also it's not something that I think they would be forthcoming with information. So that would be hard to kind of grasp what's behind those delinquencies.
Thank you. Yes. Ginny.
Hi, thank you. Hi. My concern is with the uptick in illegal occupancy. That really got on my radar very quickly because illegal occupancy leads to other problems such as parking issues and on and on and on. Is it because more are being reported, or there is truly an uptick in illegal occupancy?
There truly is an uptick, which is very common for this time of year. So we do see with the disciplinary cases, you'll see an uptick on people who have overstayed over the holidays. So January, February is when we start seeing that there's still a lot of activity, but the holidays are way past behind us. So then they get past that 60-day limit. So even though the holidays are here, they're still considered guests until they hit that 61 day. So there is an uptick. We do anticipate if this follows normal trends, it'll stay at this level until probably May, when you'll see it come down, and it'll stay down until, again, the holidays hit again.
Okay. What can our members do to mitigate this problem, in your opinion?
In my opinion, on one end, definitely report it. If you are seeing individuals who are coming and going and who don't feel that they live here or have gone through the vetting process, definitely report them, because compliance works with the Community Services Department. So we could see in the database if they're even in the process of getting approved. So we could see that on the residents end, that if you have an individual who's coming in as a guest, then let's treat them as a guest, call them into Dwelling Life. Just be mindful that the day that they hit the 61st day, per your governing documents, they're no longer a guest, they're actually considered residing there. So the intent is for this individual to be here long-term, more than a 60-day period, or more than 60 days in a 12-month calendar year, then go through the process, submit the documentation so that they could be vetted properly, and then they could have an ID card too.
And reporting to compliance is completely anonymous, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, and you could report via phone, 949-268-CALL, CALL. It could be reported via email at compliance@vmsinc.org. The resident could also call the security department if they want to, but obviously for an illegal occupancy, it won't be as high on the level of sending an officer to dispatch, because obviously those are reserved for more immediate action items than just reporting someone may be there past the guest limit.
Yes, Maggie?
Yes, I've asked that be on the Governing Documents Committee agenda, because there are people, even new people moving in, who have no clue what the residency rules are. It is in that thick package you call the escrow package, and there's so many pages in there, and they think it's their place so they can have anybody stay that they want. And so they go ahead, and they're not evil intented. They just don't know the regulations. And so at Governing Docs, we will compare ours with Third's co-occupancy and so on, and see if we can get some kind of publicity or something out to our residents to have them understand that there are occupancy regulations. And so.
Thank you. It's Charlie. And
Thank you,
then
Mayor.
Nancy, and then Georgiana. Right? Charlie?
Thank you.
I've been raising my hand all
Oh,
morning.
I'm
but-
sorry.
Georgiana,
Okay,
why?
all right.
Get it up.
Okay.
Georgiana.
All right, go ahead. I
Okay.
didn't see you. Thank you.
Yeah, I just have a question on the delinquencies. Is this a cumulative number, in other words, or what is the total number of delinquencies?
I don't have that at the top of my head. The Finance Committee reviews the delinquency report every month, so it's part of your closed packet for the Finance Committee. That delinquency report is what is sent to compliance, which triggers us to start sending disciplinary notices. The amount for the month of February, or we ended with 30 cases, that's a snapshot in the day. So at the end of the February, we ended with 30 open cases for delinquencies. It could be either at the front end of the process, meaning they just got the first courtesy notice, or at the back end where we're ready to schedule a hearing.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Georgiana, that information will be obtained during, on the Finance Committee, very detailed one. So if you can come, you can, learn more. Yeah, I realized that this month the delinquency went up compared to previous. So I checked with Steve what could be the reason. I mean, financial difficulty, so on. Of course, we do not know individuals' lives, but it's been going up. So I was a little concerned too. All right, Charlie.
Thank you. If I understand you right, did you say they are given 60 days? Is that right? Before they are?
We're going back to back to occupancy.
So if I give you a matter number right now that has somebody there that I know is not approved, that's 60 days before something's done, after they receive their letter?
Yes and no. So yes, because the governing documents clearly states that anybody in that 60-day bracket, so if they're here 60 days, they're considered a guest. When they're here on the 61st day, they're considered an illegal occupancy. However, if the resident calls us today, and today's the 65th day, so you're calling to report them as an illegal occupancy. Our team has resources, so we could see and try to ascertain when was the first day that came into play. So even though you're calling us on quote-unquote the 65th day, it's not going to start a 60-day period. It's actually going to force staff to go through and investigate when the first day and the start of that 60-day period should start.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Ginny.
I'd like to refer back to Director Blackwell saying that our new residents may not be aware. Would this not be a great slide to put together for our new resident orientation presentation about
Yes.
the do's and the don'ts of having guests, how long they can stay, where do they park, how do you register them, right? I think that would be an excellent thing,
Yes.
because like you said, they're not doing this hopefully they're not doing this with ill intent. They just don't know, right?
Thank you. Yes.
Good idea.
In fact, first week of April, we have a new residence orientation, right?
Siobhan made the note.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yes, Tom?
Yeah, the 60 days is per calendar year?
It's per 12-month period. So it's not
12 month.
January 1st to December 31st. It's 12-month
Yeah.
period that they've been there.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Nancy?
Well, this is relative to kind of a point of law. We report someone we might believe may be an illegal occupant, and so that it can be substantiated by the appropriate department and investigated.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Any other comment or question to, yes? Sue?
This is
please.
very timely, so, and I don't know if the veracity of this, but a neighbor came up to me and said that they're very disturbed about what's going on in their building. They have a resident who is not there all the time, but they let people come and stay. And she believes it's like a halfway house where the people are coming in and staying for periods of time. And she's talked with the resident, and she's concerned and a little frightened. And she says she's reported this to security several times and not heard back. Will they report back to that individual, or how does the process work? And I don't know if I've not checked into this, but this person was quite concerned.
Okay. The biggest challenge that the compliance department has is that we are held to strict confidentiality. So we cannot confirm nor deny any of our cases. Obviously, if it goes through the entire process, it comes into closed session, which is an executive meeting, which by law is just a closed meeting. So the staff is held to strict confidentiality rules. We are not able to report back to the reporting parties. We're not able to share any information that's been gathered during our investigation, and we're not able to share any action that the board or the committee has taken against that violation. So what we do gather all the information that is received. So if a resident is reporting that the unit remains empty most of the time, and then there's individuals for short amount of time or short periods, then we take that information, put it against our resources and the databases that we have to our disposal to ascertain, is this a true violation, or is this just that their life equates to the unit being empty most of the time and having people here for a short period of time. Whatever that outcome is, I can report back to you in closed session. And in fact, at the Executive Hearings Committee, we do have that dialogue constantly. But I can't report, and the staff cannot report that to the residents or in open session like this.
Thank you. Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a concern that I've run into, and residents don't need to know, and I don't need to know proprietary information, but they have to have some reassurance that it's being dealt with without using names. And that's all residents are asking for, is not proprietary information that could lead exposure, but they have a right to know that they're being taken seriously and something is in the works, so that we know that it's not a case of failure to perform on the part of compliance. But I think we owe some type of information to the residents to know that they're being taken seriously without exposing proprietary information. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Nancy?
I think this conversation right now behooves a reminder, as chair of the member here, executive hearings,
Right.
and we hear these cases in closed session. The reminder is we cannot offer our units for Vrbo or Airbnb, and I think that even a backdoor utilization of that concept of Vrbo or Airbnb does seem to occur sometimes. And in executive hearings, I can tell you that the penalties are grave. Substantial fines, and you can lose your membership. You can lose privileges. There's a reason we do this. We want to know who's coming in here. We want to know who's staying here. It's for your protection, and it's why you bought in here. So it's not us being heavy-handed. It's the residents themselves telling us, we think there's a situation here. And so we like it when we don't have these cases come before us, but they come before us after compliance has done a thorough investigation. So I hope that completes the circle of understanding.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, Francis, if I've reported a possible illegal occupancy, can I call you up and ask you if the case is still open or not? And get a response?
You, board member, yes. I will gladly have a conversation with residents, no. So I can't divulge those classified information beyond the board. So there is the general manager's office, our boss, Chief Nunez, do get those emails of compliance is not doing anything because we're not sharing and we're not having that dialogue back. So, but I can supply that to the board. At this level, I could definitely give you the details of what compliance has done, what the investigation has resulted in, where we are in the process.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Maggie.
This sounds like a good article for the next Breeze.
Right, by the way, well, I will discuss it later on, but anyway, thank you. Any other question or comment?
Francis, that number again.
949-268-CALL.
Thank you.
C-A-L-L, and I think it's 2268.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
2255.
2255.
949-268-2255.
Is there a link on the web? Is there a link on the webpage for that?
Yes, under security services.
Okay.
Thank you. Very, very useful discussion. Thank you for coming.
Welcome, my pleasure.
Okay, bye. Okay, let's move on to item number 12, no business. A, Town Hall, oral discussion by Director Costello.
Thank you. If you weren't there, we had a rather rousing discussion at the last town hall about security. We had a full house. We had Chief Eric Nunez answering all types of questions, making a great presentation, and well worth everybody's time that was there. I think we would all be in agreement. So this month is coming up, and it will be this coming Friday, the 14th. And the topic of discussion will be damage to your manor, the restoration process and financial responsibility. We see a lot of people who are coming to member hearings because of delinquencies and not sure what's going on, why they are responsible for some type of water intrusion issue and things like that, and what part of the restoration process they're financially responsible for. So we thought this might be a great topic of discussion to empower and enlighten our members. So Director Nancy Carlson will be leading a conversation discussing the process both during and after a damage incident in your manor. We will also review the steps taken to evaluate financial responsibility by both the member and the HOA, and why HO6 or condo insurance is vitally important. So it is the Town Hall at the PAC this coming Friday from 2 to 4, and we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, number B, entertain a motion to approve the revision to Standard 6 air conditioning units, heat pumps. In March, initial notification, 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360. So, Madam Secretary, can you read the resolution, please?
Yes. Revised Standard 6, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the Mutual recognizes the need to revise Standard 6, air conditioning units, heat pumps, now therefore be it resolved, April 8th, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revisions and amendments to Standard 6, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning as attached to the official meeting minutes, and resolve further that Resolution 01-2404, adopted January 9, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled. and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move this revised standard on heating, ventilating, and air conditioning.
Thank you. Any second? All right. Jeannie has seconded. Any discussion? Can staff, Mr. Allen, come out and explain this resolution, please?
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Just a quick overview, the standards, and this standard in particular, we're constantly looking and reviewing the standards for updates in code, guideline regulations. This standard in particular deals with updates to the type of units that we allow in the village and location of the units, and more specific guidelines on how to run the mechanical lines from point A to point B. So it's an update that clarifies that. If you'll notice in the standard, we've actually added pictures of the different types of units that are available to help the member better understand the regulations. That's a general overview. We've added a definition section on this, and we've also added, let me get to the end, a maintenance ownership section, making sure that the member is aware of their responsibilities to maintain it and all the costs associated with it.
Any question? Yes, Nancy.
Come up in a number of town halls, just in the general session, where people were going to be putting in a central HVAC, and that they ran up against the wall with respect to the insulation, that our insulation needed to be brought up to code to be able to put that in. Is that true? And is it relevant to be in this?
It's not an issue that I'm aware of. There are no code requirements. It stands to reason if you're going to spend money to heat or cool, you're going to be more efficient if you have insulation, especially in your attic. But it's not a condition,
Okay.
a requirement for this standard.
All right.
Okay, any other question to Alan? Yeah. Oh, yes.
Madam President,
Uh-huh.
I wanted to ask, I cannot find where it's located in here, but it said it was, you should size the unit to be the minimal amount needed for the heating and cooling of the area. And I just wonder why that has to be. I know you're not trying to use the system, but I don't know if you've got a smaller unit, wouldn't it run more than if it was, why does it have to be the smallest?
Fair question. It's in there really for member awareness. We don't want contractors trying to sell our members an oversized unit, thinking that a bigger unit will perform better. Actually, larger units will not work as well. So it behooves our members to work with their contractor to make sure that the unit they're putting in is the right size for the space it's going to heat or cool. It's primarily in there for the member awareness, to ask that question. Is this unit the right size? Is it too small? Is it too big? Because many times we're seeing installations that are oversized for the space that they're heating and cooling.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, Nancy?
Yeah, I just want to circle back to the insulation issue again. If I wanted to, I have existing units, if I wanted to add additional insulation into it, like the blow-in insulation or so, would this fall under this standard?
No.
Okay. It's a separate consent item in the
It is.
building department?
It would be.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other question, comment? Are you ready to vote? The recommendation is to approve a resolution to revise Standard 6 air conditioning units and heat pumps. There is a motion and second. So any objection, or do we have to vote? Yes. If you consent motion, please raise your hand. Oh, okay. And, all right, 7. Okay. One more, who is Georgiana? Oh, okay, no.
I
Right.
just thump it with my
Okay, unanimous.
finger.
Yes, thank you.
They're on there.
It's approved.
Yeah.
Move on to next item, 12B, entertain a motion to approve, no, that's been done. C, thank you. C, entertain a motion to establish painting program ad hoc committee, oral discussion. Is there any discussion, motion, anything like that? Ad hoc committee, there's no, it's oral discussion. Someone proposed that we need to discuss with it. Yes, Sue?
I looked up
Yeah.
when you should get an ad hoc committee.
Right.
And this doesn't really qualify for an ad hoc committee.
Uh-huh.
It basically says an ad hoc committee should be done if you need additional expertise, a standing committee currently can't handle it, something like that. And we have standing committees that can have this, that handle this. It's been handled in the past by the standing committees. So I don't see the need for this. If people want to have input as to how the committee hearing is conducted or whatever, they should just work with the committee chair as to who this is assigned to, and then address their issues.
Okay,
Yeah,
there was
I-
a Nancy, and then
Yeah,
Tom.
I'm in agreement.
Point of order. If there's no motion, we don't need
Right,
to discuss anything.
that's right. There's no motion, right. Okay. Is there any motion here? No? Okay, no motion. That, it is, yeah, done, right. Thank you very much. Yeah. All right, let's move on, make my life easy. Now, D, entertain a motion to approve consultant services to provide color, building elevation renderings. So D, toward D, there is a staff report and recommendation is there. Is there a resolution?
No resolution.
No resolution.
I move that I'm making a motion for discussion purposes only
Okay,
of this.
there is a
Is there a
recommendation
second?
though, all right.
Is there a second?
Well, there
No
is a
second.
recommendation. Okay, there is a
Nothing in here,
recommendation,
no.
so you move for the recommendation, and there's a second, all right? And let's have a discussion. And we have Manuel, who is available.
She had a question.
Yeah, just a minute, after staff.
No, that's okay. Thank you, members of the board. This item was initially before the board and at your December meeting where you requested that we solicit information on getting a consultant to put together some color renderings of the proposed new colors for the exterior building program and take that information to the M&C committee. So that happened on February 26th. Initially, we were looking at doing color renderings of all buildings, working with the committee. We reduced the amount of recommended renderings down to 7 models, I think. And in your staff report, we've listed the models that we're recommending. This will be to hire a consultant to provide professional quality renderings of the proposed
color palettes. And although this is not something that the board budgeted for with your current business plan, we believe we can absorb it in the current operating budget for the exterior paint program. And the staff recommendation and the recommendation of the M&C committee is to give us the green light to go ahead and bring the consultant on board to prepare these renderings at a cost of $7,780.
Thank you. Georgiana?
Yes, I think right now this isn't the best time to be spending that kind of money. It seems to be a fair amount. We had requested some updates on the colors, and the updates we eventually got were worse than what we had, although they were very, very similar. And one of my main complaints had to do with the fact that all the two-story buildings, I think the only colors, like for the whole building, no, I'm not talking about trim, were dark colors like a dark olive green and maybe something that looked like charcoal, which would take my neighborhood from being all sort of an off-white to looking like I'm in New Hampshire. So anyway, so I think probably rather than spend the money, I think when it comes to painting, we should be able to have a choice to stay of something close to what we have in our neighborhood, as well as whatever new ones they want to introduce. But I think my main concern before was the colors look great for New Hampshire, but not Southern California where you're in a sunny climate.
Okay.
And so, but if we can at least have a choice to keep something close to what we have.
Thank you. Nancy and Marie and Sue. All right.
Nothing brings out residents like what is the color of my building going to be? And I think this takes the problem off the table where people will be heard. They cannot tell from paint chips what it's going to look like. I mean, seriously, at all of our town halls, no matter what the subject is, that issue can elevate itself. So actually, Georgiana, you were one of the ones that were concerned about that to begin with. And I do think it was a correct concern, and I think we should move it. I would just make a note that to reiterate, we didn't pick every model. We picked the ones with maybe more architectural facets on the buildings themselves, if you understand what I'm saying. And that we have excluded Madrids and Cordobas. They're the one story. I don't know that we need to do that. But we also found the building department had some kind of neat, crisp elevation drawings. And I found some at the History Center, too. So we do have that.
Okay. Marie?
When Director Carlton first asked or brought up, shouldn't we have a schematic of, what did you call it?
Elevation rendering.
Elevation, okay.
Yeah.
I was all for that, and I am for that, but I had in mind that it would either be the vendor who is bringing these colors to us, who would create this item, or in-house, not $7,800 worth of yet another consultant.
Okay. Thank you. Sue?
I thought this was a good compromise because people really wanted to be able to see what the colors look like. And there were strong opinions on both sides. People really loved the colors, some people did not. And so some people were saying, oh, we can't discern what this will look like. So I thought the staff did a great job on a compromise to come up and say, let's get a few of the renderings, and they can look at it and see whether or not this is a way to go. So on the $7,780, I just want you to know that when I moved in here, I had my sister as my project manager, and she did a lovely job in redoing the unit. And this was 8 years ago, and she had a color specialist come in to do 1,000 square feet, and it was $1,500 to just pick a variation of tan. So I don't see that this $7,780 is that out of line.
Okay. Nancy?
Right. Actually, what we're creating is a history, too. So what we do now, we will be able to reuse, and it's just Photoshop and cherry pick colors, iterations over time as we need to do it. So it's an investment not just a one-use expenditure. And I'm very budget
for it.
conscious, but I recommend this.
Okay, Jeannie?
I agree that I think our members. Oh, that's the first time I've ever done that. I agree that I think our members would be well served in having actual images of their homes in the various colors. However, I'd like to ask Ben, well, did we discuss this with the paint manufacturer? If we gave him our renderings, could they mock up their paint colors on our models?
Of course they could.
We didn't ask, but I can tell you from experience, the paint manufacturer will give us the paint colors and the boards that you saw. But if you want them to transfer these onto renderings, they're going to charge us for that separately, and they're probably more than what this consultant will do.
Okay,
That's not typically something they do at no cost.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, I think someone mentioned to me that some of the renderings are in the, across the hall in that room where we go to request resident services. They're on the wall. I didn't look last time I was there, but.
Yeah, we do have not renderings, we have elevation plans, but for the quality that I think the board is trying to get, those won't suffice. So unfortunately, I think if you really are trying to give residents a good sense of what the new color palette is going to look like on the buildings, I really think that this is the way to go.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes?
We have 2 member comments.
Okay.
Are you ready?
All right.
The first person is Dick Rader.
Okay, Dick.
I have no problem with what you're discussing, except for one thing. If I heard correctly, I heard that you were going to Photoshop the rendering of the colors. And I've done photo editing. I can tell you this, that in order to get a true color printout, you have to set the monitor and the printer. It's an extensive process to get it to print out an accurate color. So therefore, I just caution you that just printing out something may not represent the true colors.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Roberta Burke.
I think that in the large scheme of things, it's not a lot of money for people to feel comfortable and at least feel like they're playing a part in what goes on in their daily life, looking at their doors and so forth. But I do think that we have very, very talented people in the art department. I mean, if you went through the administration building, some of those things were fabulous. Not that they can do that kind of work, but I think before you do hire someone, I think we should ask if there isn't somebody there, or more than one, that can do that kind of work and see what they come up with. I'm sure they would enjoy participating in this whole project. I also would like to make another suggestion. I live in a building that has window shelves outside the windows and the banisters and so forth. And for some reason, they painted them a light whitish color. And I think since we wait for a very, very long time before we paint again, I don't think any of those shelves that sit flat for all the dirt and everything to fall on should be the light colors. I think that should be the color trim. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Call for the vote. Okay, are we ready to vote for a recommendation to authorize staff to engage the services of an architectural consultant to prepare building elevation color rendering for 7 building models for a cost not to exceed $7,780? Ready to vote? If you consent the motion, please vote yes. If not, please vote no.
Try it right hand. You want yes?
Okay.
We need Anthony and Nancy's vote. Okay. You want yes? Okay.
Oh, yes, 5, no, 5, motion fails.
Yes. Fails or carries?
Yes.
We tried.
Majority need to be approved. All right, thank you very much for our trial discussion. Yes,
I would like to move that we ask our in-house people to give us an attempt at what we were recently voting on doing outhouse for $7,800. I think that was the sticking point. So I would like to move that we ask our in-house people to come up with such a rendering.
in-house people, what do you mean by in-house?
Well,
people?
who
Staff
do we
people?
say? VMS, ask our VMS to use the computer information that we have and come up with a rendering for this.
Well, there's a motion, is there any second before he comes in? Or, yes?
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
second that.
second.
Director
There's a
Collins,
second.
could you repeat the motion?
Oh, yeah, motion is to
I'm sorry.
VMS to come.
Repeat
up-
the motion. The motion is that we ask VMS to give us an attempt, if they think it's, let me preface it, if they think it's not doable, just give us an attempt. Ask VMS to give us an attempt at this elevation projection.
Oh, I see, that's a whole
Okay,
different story.
so there is a second, right?
In-house.
Okay,
I'd like
all
to
right.
hear,
Any discussion? Can you make a comment?
Yes,
Manuel?
thank you. We have a lot of talented people on staff. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody who can do what's being requested here, and we don't have the tools to do that either, so.
Okay.
You got,
So it's not doable?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Can
you
I,
got
can I make,
comment?
it? Can I make a,
Sorry.
can I
Yes,
make a
Jenny,
suggestion?
right.
Discussion,
Or
discussion.
discussion,
Discussion,
just a discussion. Manuel, because you can say, it's fine, M&C may not, but you have media and communications, and they have Photoshop, they have a number of those types of programs. I can't believe that we cannot utilize them in-house for this purpose.
Yes, Maggie? Oh, Nancy.
That would be a GRF staff issue. It would require an extra duty, it would require extra funding from them. So if you want to do it that way, that takes them away from their other duties and responsibilities. I'm not sure you want to do that.
Nancy?
Well, I'm on the same solution track as Jeannie just suggested, which is our media and communication people are employees of VMS, aren't they not? So therefore, ergo.
Okay. Sue?
Well, I think our staff is very, very good, and I'm grateful for all that they do. But if they tell us they can't do it, I'm going to support them. If you would like, one of us could take this to the photo club. Maybe they could render something to help us, and they could say yes or no, it's possible. When they came to, when staff handed out the papers, you know, we had the billboard up and it showed the paint colors, and then they handed out in our packets what those colors would look like. They were totally different, and they said it was because of the print ability. They were in no way matched. So I don't know what we gain by this, by telling them to do it. I mean, we can tell them, and they can come back a month later and say they can. But perhaps we should try something different, maybe go to the photo club and see if they can help us. I don't know if they can.
Yes, Charlie?
We have been talking about this for months,
Yes,
way too long.
right.
We are not going to be able to satisfy there's going to be people opposite this and for it as we go forward. What just happened is why we're having this conversation again. If we have people that are available to work with this, that live in the village, are on staff with VMS, we need to use those, and let's get this over with. This has caused a delay, which is going to cost us more money in the long run. So if we want to give this one more chance to get a local in-house, our residents that has the capability of doing this, let's do this and finalize this whole thing. Thank you.
All right, Jeannie, Ann, and Nancy.
And because I just volunteered to VMS staff, we should probably have Siobhan Foster weigh in on that brilliant idea. And she probably shoot it down.
I cannot tell you at this time what our capabilities are in terms of technology and software and so forth, and I need to check the availability of staff time, so I cannot commit one way or the other this morning sitting here.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Nancy?
Yeah, with the graphics, that's actually my realm of expertise. And I actually just donated to the Camera Club the equipment that does meet this circumstance, and the Pantone colors, et cetera. So I'm not worried about that. And actually, I've ordered a new, even bigger, grander piece of equipment that is the latest iteration in the marketplace. So the equipment is there. I'm less concerned about that. The point is that we want to give them a rendering. If I do it in watercolor, if I do it in acrylics, each one is going to look at. The point is that they wanted to get a feel for what it's going to look like. And I think that they have, these are probably Pantone colors that they've matched up against, so it's not an issue. So to make it simple, Jeannie's working on it. I can communicate with graphically relative to this, so we can take it off the table for the dais, the horseshoe to worry about right now.
That's great.
And then, and I can talk to the Camera Club about it.
Okay,
as
so
well.
the motion is
One
on the floor.
yeah,
We're going to
right.
drop the
Yeah.
motion then, right?
Correct.
Okay, and
But
yes.
I still think we need to be able to have that option when it comes to your building being painted, of if you don't like the colors that are there, to be able to choose something close to what you currently have.
All right, thank you. So, okay, Maggie, final comment.
If we pass this today, we have a month for them to get their information to us. If we don't like the information that we get, then we say no and go ahead. But this, just passing it today, opens up the 1 month, and we can get all of these things done during that time.
I agree.
So I suggest that we pass it this time.
Okay. But the motion was on the floor that we ask VMS to do it, but there's no staff is committed. So we need to, put down that motion and then move on from there. Tom?
Or did we already?
Yeah, I have a question I'll ask Siobhan, if that's okay. If we're requesting that someone from volunteer or a group from Laguna Woods Village, is that something that the board needs to initiate, or can VMS initiate that for us, such as if we amend this motion to include seeking Laguna Woods Village members to help with this? Is that something VMS can do, or do we have to do it?
I think you can direct us as a board to pursue such and such an option and report back to see if it was effective or not.
Okay,
So if
then-
it's the camera club, the video club,
Then I
the
would,
general.
Then I would propose an amendment
Right.
to the motion to include the possibility of seeking Laguna Woods Village personnel, members to
Point.
help with this.
Okay, there is a amendment.
Point
Second, there is a-
of order. It tied. That means it did not pass. We voted on it today. We cannot do anything else with it today. It has to come up again next month in agenda prep, and we agree to put it on at that time. We have ended it with a tie vote, which is a no pass.
Right. There was,
Point of
it was
order?
done. Yes.
Are you speaking of the motion I made, we already voted on? I
I'm-
wasn't aware of that.
About the color painting, it is D, 12D. It's all about consultants of color building elevation renderings.
Yeah, that was.
We cannot create a new item on new business at this time. It has to be done at the beginning, at the agenda, approval of the agenda, or it has to be done at agenda prep. So
That was
if
true.
you want to follow the rules.
Right, yeah.
We do it at agenda prep, and then
Right.
we put on whatever we want. Okay,
That's
so, but
correct,
for
right.
today, it's done.
Can we make the recommendations that we look further into other options and have them ready for the agenda prep?
You can do that on our own. We don't.
Yeah, I
We
think
can do
then
that.
that's fine.
Yeah, I
can
think
do
we
that.
still
Right,
have freedom
right.
of speech.
Okay,
Okay,
so
yeah.
I'm unclear. The motion that I made, it was out of order?
Yeah.
Right, right.
And that
Okay,
was not said at the time, and we had a second to it, and then we've had
but
discussion.
there was a recommendation, so, okay, now we got that,
No, I made a motion.
failed. And then, yeah, we recommend the step, is there any way that we could go ahead, then make a, next movement, right, that was correct.
So what is the
Okay,
status of my motion?
That was recommended to the VMS, but we don't need any
No,
formal.
no, I didn't make a recommendation. I made a motion, and it was seconded.
Out of order. Okay, let's move on
Okay.
to E, entertain a motion to approve 2025 Inspector of Election Services.
Okay.
The resolution, yes, Madam Secretary.
Okay, here we go. Approve 2025 Inspector of Election Services. Whereas Civil Code 5110 requires an association to select an independent third party or parties as an inspector of elections. And whereas, in accordance with Civil Codes 5110, 5115, 5120, and 5125, the inspector of election performs several tasks during an election, including but not limited to print and mail voter packages, inspect and tabulate ballots, and certify results. Now therefore, be it resolved, March 11th, 2025, that due to Unilec Corporation's agreement to conform to the criteria established in the specifications as inspector of election and its familiarity with the community, the Board of Directors of United Laguna Woods Mutual hereby approves Unilec Corporation to perform Inspector of Election services for the 2025 election of directors, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are directed on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move this resolution to approve the Inspector of Election services.
Any second? Yes, Jeannie, thank you. Ready to vote for the resolution? Any discussion? I don't think we need any discussion for that, right? Okay. If you consent the motion, vote yes. If not, say no.
You want me to do it?
There's no.
Marie's not here.
Okay, right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, then we are moving on to number 13, but are we ready to take a break?
Yes.
Okay, 10-minute break.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Norm.
Okay, great. I don't know, it's ridiculous that we keep going on.
Leave it at that. I'm not gonna touch that.
No, here's what you can do. You have this diagram. Right. Somehow this is Mike. Right. So it affects everybody, not just me. So I understand what you're trying, and I understand what you're trying to help. I understand what you're trying to help.
And I have no problem with that. But it's just, they were not upset, they were just so good because they're new people. And I want them to understand that they can, speak.
Yeah, we can start with ACSC if you want.
Busy?
So 13B, if you want to start with 13B right now.
Okay. All right, let's move on. United Committee reports. Since A item, the treasurer is not here, so let us move to B first and then come back, okay? Report of the Architecture Control and Standard Committee. Director Willis, she is not here either. Report of Member Hearing Committee. Director Carson, please.
Yes, these committees are closed sessions, but in essence, what we deal with is the internal dispute resolutions. Neighbor A has something they wanted to say about neighbor B, and we resolve that. So, second is a meet and confer, where somebody in the village may want to ask us something to rule on, and it could be lighting request or something like that. And three is the determination cases. And that is where we determine, based on the evidence, what is going to be the member's financial responsibility for, say, a damage and restoration case, and that which might be the HOA's responsibility.
Okay.
So we can't record or tell you what the findings are because that's all confidential.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Prater.
Yes.
Can you do your report? Finance Committee and Financial Report, A.
All right. Good morning, everyone. And we get the slides up here shortly, I'm sure.
Nope.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, good morning. This is our first report of the year regarding the month of ending on January 31st. As you see here on slide 1, we had a United revenue was 5.1 compared to the expenses of 4.2. Our revenue is just short of $1 million in the favorable column for us at this good start for January. Number 2. Through this year, we kept closely on the operating funds so far of our financial results. The operating fund without shows a surplus of $404,000 through this period. The table shows how much of our reserve went into operations, with the $2.5 million coming in from assessments and $103,000 coming in from non-assessment revenue. This is compared to operating and expenditures of $2.2 million. This next table takes in the full income statement and compares these results to budget. We can see that United ended this period better than at budget by $898,000 when combining all funds. The most significant variances from the budget were attributed to the following. Okay, outside services were favorable, primarily in the maintenance and construction, primarily due to the timing for the programs such as damage restoration, roof replacements, electric panel replacements, among others. Employee compensation is also favorable by $109,000, mostly through, again, maintenance and construction and landscape this time due to opening positions. Impacted areas include carpentry, appliances, and ground maintenance. Recruitment is in the process to fill in this open positions. Material and supplies of $90,000 favorable, primary again to maintenance and construction due to timing of material usage in programs throughout the community in areas such as the interior components, electrical, and paint. Insurance, again, favorable due to the timing of the property insurance premiums. The budget was spread evenly across 12 months, whereas the expense is lower in the first half and is anticipated to increase the second half due to increased premiums this year. Fees and charges to residents, $32,000 unfavorable, excuse me. Variance is primarily due to the timing of billing for charges, services, and residents for damage restoration and carpentry. Last one, legal fees. We are 29,000 over. Unfavorable variances primary to the higher employee-rated legal fees than accepted. On this chart, we show non-assessment revenue earned to date of $149,000. Revenue is organized by category here, starting with our largest generating category, which is investment income, followed by fees and charges to residents, laundry, lease processing fees, and so forth. This table shows exactly the same $149,000 of non-resident revenue as presented in the previous pie chart, and it compares it to the current year's budget to the prior year's actuals. This is another pie chart we get to see here. The expenses to date of $4.2 million, showing that our largest categories of expenses are property tax, followed by employee compensation and related, outside services, insurance, and so forth. Slide 8 is shows the same $4.2 million of expenses as presented to the previous pie chart and compares it to the current year's budget and the prior year's year-to-date actuals. Our fund balances are shown here. The contingency fund balance on January 31st of this year was $608,000. Contributions collected total $9,000, and no expenditures have been entered to date as of January 31st. The reserve fund balance on January 31st was $13.9 million. Contributions and investment revenue collected totaled $1.3, while expenditures were $772,000. Okay, we compare these to non-operating fund balances to historical fund balances for the past 5 years on this chart, which has an average of $18 million. This table illustrates the schedule of repayment for the temporary borrowing from the reserve fund. United has always kept a close eye on this, as always, and the repayment of any borrowed monies from the reserve fund. On November 12th, 2024, the board approved temporary borrowing from the reserve fund of 3.2. We show a schedule here that with full repayment of the borrowed money by March 31st of this year, with the first installment of $1 million, which occurred on February 28th. And finally, we have a table here to show the resale history of 2023 through 2025. Through January of 31st of this year, resales was 19, which is 12 resales less than prior year at the same period. The average year-to-date sale price for United Mutual was $420, which is $52,000 more than the prior year for the same period. Thank you.
Okay. Any additional financial report, finance committee report? No, that's it?
Real quick, I will let everybody know that, as everybody knows, the audit is going on. There has been no official open meetings on that, but the audit is going pretty well. They are 25% done. And hopefully in 2 weeks, we'll meet again and we'll get an update. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to B. Any question for Charlie? Yes, Tom?
I know it says that the repayment's going to be made in March, but the same borrowing cycle is going to start again,
Right.
so that the same process is going to start over again, that we're going to have to borrow money to pay for insurance and things like that until we find a solution to that cash flow problem.
You're absolutely right, Tom. Our next biggest hit will be paying our taxes April 10th, property taxes. And the recommendations, I'm sure, will come up in the next meeting.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Charlie. Item B, report of Architectural Control Center Committee. Director Willis, do you have a report? B, item. Can you turn on the microphone, please?
Yes, the committee met on February 25th, and the next meeting is on March 25th.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, C has been done, and let's move on to D, report of Governing Docs Review Committee. Director Blackwell, please.
Okay, we had a meeting January 16th. We didn't have anything in February. We have a meeting this next week. Do
Okay.
come.
Thank you. Report of Landscape Committee. Director Plum.
I was not at the last
Oh.
landscape. Director Collins
Yes,
chaired that
Dr.
committee
Collins.
for us. And
Yes, I'd like to report, thank you. I'd like to report that the main thing I learned at the landscaping was many of our residents are confused between should they ask for a removal of a tree or is it just debris? There's many times they're asking for removal of a tree, and really it's the debris that we need to discuss. So I'd like for that to get out there. And I did comment and handed out my view of, on my director's comment, of my results. You know I've been researching this 1572. It's all good. It's all good. And Sue is handling that, and we are working with, we're going to have the landscape department and some of us with the actual decider of when we are in compliance, of who is VU from over at that water district is just wonderful. Okay. Anyway, that's going along. I was so thrilled to hear from the fire department how United is in such wonderful shape, and it's because of our landscaping department keeping the trees, because people thought, oh, we're going to have to cut the trees. No, the trees, actually, the fire department said, because they're so well maintained, we'll be catching the embers if we get any. Hopefully we don't get any. But instead of cutting it down, we are fortunate to have the trees and the turf that they said would actually catch the fibers and put them out. So those are my main takeaways from that. And this was only my opinion, okay? But this is available to anyone who would like to have one. And it kind of combined. At the last minute, I revised it because it kind of combined what I learned from the fire department and what I learned from El Toro Water Board. But Sue is going to be heading up, because we don't know the answers to all the requirements until later this year. I actually did see somewhere that a Senator Stern from the Ventura County and Malibu has put forward, he has proposed a thing that would make our date move up. Instead of January of 29, he proposes it to be the 28th. We're going to talk to our attorney about that and see what's going on. But your landscape department is working great.
Thank you. Okay, next item is report of Maintenance Construction Committee. We met February 26th, and all the items that we dealt with today, again, 3 speakers came, and we denied in the committee. But again, it's not just dismissal, just like that, but we have really looked into the whole situation. We had all the documents and all the pictures and all the staff's report, and we considered very carefully. The meeting was very long, and we discussed intensely. However, because of the rules, because of all the regulations and the presence, we denied. That was sad to say. However, all the members, most of them were there and spoke. And but we present to you according to our decision. But today we heard them again. So most of the items are already covered there. And in the future time, we will have washer, dryer, appliance pilot program will be discussed, and also attic wall insulation materials agenda will be discussed. Next meeting will be on Wednesday, 23rd, 9:30 a.m. So we invite all of you who are interested in. That's my MNC report, and let's go to G, report of the United Resident Advisory Committee. Director Willis, again.
Yes, that met, that next meeting is March 13th. That'll be Thursday at 4 p.m. in the Elm Room, and we're there from 4 to 5. So if you have something that may have fallen between the cracks, come and speak to some of the directors at that time.
Thank you. And then report of
Madam Chair?
Yes. Oh.
I just want to emphasize that to the audience, our membership at large. Do go, you have issues, do go to the Resident Advisory Committee so that it gets resolved before it has to come to a meet and confer with us in executive hearing or at member A against member B. So the Resident Advisory Committee is a very productive resource.
Okay. Thank you. Report of the United Revenue Committee. We met on February 27. We are having a monthly meeting, and we are dealing with those possible 4 items: rental fee proposal, infrastructure fee, and United Foundation possibly, and also GLF revenue, the dividend issue. So we are still working on it, right? Right, 5th.
If we buy properties, if United purchases some properties and renovates them.
Right. That was it, right. We could purchase the property and renovate and sell it, whether that would be doable or not, right? So we added 1 more item. So we are working very hard, and then we've been having some consultation. I think during the closed session, maybe Jeff will be, included for our further discussion. And our next meeting will be March 27th, again, 10:30 a.m. in the boardroom. All right. Yes?
Madam President, I don't know if this is appropriate to ask questions of you, but on page 2 of 4, at the 4 revenue generating ideas, on the rental fee proposal, you can't hear us?
We will do it
Okay.
during the closed session.
Rental, this is closed session?
Yeah, we will discuss in the closed session.
Well, why is this in the open?
This is just a report. Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Yeah, we'll give
No
you a
problem,
chance to.
no problem.
Thank you. All right, is there any question, comment on our United Mutual Community Report? If not, then let's move on GRF committee highlights. A, report of the GRF Finance Committee. Mr. Prater.
Thank you very much. The meeting was held on 25th of February. Steve Harmuth from the Finance Department just gave an update, of course, of the 2026 budget preparation process that's going on right now. And that will be continued as we go and update it as we go forward on that. The electric vehicle charging fees are being looked at right now, and we will probably get a staff report from them in the next 30 days, and we'll go over that completely. There's been some primary reports done by other people and submitted, and everything, it looks like it's going to be on target for our goals for this year.
Okay, thank you.
That's all.
Right. Next meeting will be April 16. All right.
Thank you, yes.
Report of Community Activities Committee, Director Kwan. CAC.
Well, this was one where I was excused. I was invited to go to Cabo, and I said, heck yes. So I will defer to others, but it looks to me from reading the reports that they're working very hard at updating policies and procedures, and I'll defer to the people who attended.
We are in the process of reviewing the community activities, the GRF policies, and it was a very lively discussion, and we didn't get very far because it was such a lively discussion. So our homework was to take that away and come back, and the next meeting is this week on Thursday, 1:30 in here, and go over and hopefully page by page and line item by line item, because we kind of got a little far afield on a couple of topics. But we will be going line by line, hopefully, and being able to, confirm or recommend the new GRF activities policy.
Thank you. Okay, report of the GRF Landscape Committee. Again, Director Kwan, or were you there?
I was there. I was there for this one. And I wish we could have been more helpful to the people who live by the creek. They are so upset about the maintenance of the creek area and what they can and cannot do. And we are prohibited as an entity from going against the state and federal regulations. And they are kind of in control of the creek. And they put together a 10-year plan that we're going to have to follow. And it's very stringent. You know, if you pull out the cattails or whatever, you have to then replant some of those cattails in another part of the creek. Whether or not they live or die is optional, but you have to do that. And there are all sorts of things, and people really would like to have some of the trees trimmed or taken out. Again, we have requested that. They have said no. So we're really kind of stuck on what we can do. What is on GRF property, we can look at, and we can try to do better. And what's also on United property, some of them are concerned about the growth and that we're not coming around in a timely fashion. I concur with that, but that is what we are budgeted for, and there's not much more we can do unless the board wants to revisit that. So we explained that, wish we had better news for them.
Okay, thank you. And next item is D, 14D, report of the GLF Maintenance and Construction Committee. Myself and Nancy is on the committee, and most of the committee members are new, so we have to go back to the previous discussion and so on. But anyway, 2 items I remember was the Clubhouse 5 sidewalk request was denied, and also Clubhouse 7 lighting RFP agenda was discussed, but decision was not made, and we deferred to the staff people to have further discussion, LED light changing, that kind of stuff. And because of all delayed discussion, one important agenda was 2026 budget discussion. It was included, but we haven't even started. So we decided to move on to the next meeting to have better the budget discussion, which is very important one. And next meeting will be on April 9th, 9:30 a.m. in the boardroom. Okay, what is the next agenda item? Is space planning ad hoc committee is subcommittee of the MNC, but Nancy, can you report it, please?
Yeah, I'll try and be succinct about this because it's always such an interesting subject matter.
Right.
We had an 8-month hiatus on that, and we have, I think, 7 new committee members. So one of my propositions was, where we've gotten in trouble before is people didn't even know what these buildings looked like. And one of the things that we have it is incumbent upon us is to utilize the facilities that we have and to make wise decisions about that. So I recommended, and we are going to be doing it, we're going to be touring the buildings, and particularly Building E. So we've got that getting set up, and the decision, we had multiple motions, but one of the things we want to get an ROM, rough order of magnitude of like the engineer who's looked at that building before, it's been a few years, look at it again, just give us an idea, heads up on what's the latest on. Is it code by, is it we just need to bring it up to code? Do we need to remodel it and reutilize it for some purpose? Or do we want to demolish it? So the variations on it, it's worked out. We're trying to be, my focus has been, we need to be objective about it, because this whole process for the last 5 years has been very subjective as opposed to objective. People had pet projects they wanted to do, took things in a direction. We're trying to make wise financial decisions on this thing. The update on the lease, the 2-year lease that we have for staff, the DNR, security, and landscape. Remember, security works in 3 shifts, so it's not 21 people all at one time. They're over in the building adjacent to us. They upped it for another 2 years. Director Ginocchio, who is a CPA, also pointed out we need to be heads up about it. People say, oh, don't worry, the interest on the money is paying for such and such. The reality is that once you extend a lease beyond a 2-year period of time, it can become an operating expense. And with operating expenses is what creates our baseline calculations for assessments. So space planning and consideration about what we're going to do is important. Okay. And so the committee's back functioning again, new members, focusing on getting them educated and familiarized with the buildings that we have so that we can make wise decisions in terms of even when we discuss things, we have a sense that everybody knows what we're discussing about and not just imagining what's going on in a building. So those are kind of the key points. It's always going to be interesting, and we're laying out a roadmap for wise decision making. Now, I will say I received a ton of phone calls after the meeting because the president thought, well, wouldn't it be great if we just took back here and built a new building there? And people, of course, when they hear a germ of an idea, even if it's someone's individual idea, they can take it to the extreme. And so I spent a lot of time with the fire hose putting out the notion that, yes, we're building a brand new building behind the community center here. Please temper your thoughts and realities. Not to mention, if we were, how many years that would take to do that. But so anyway, space planning is in full force and effect. We'll be listening to what the club's needs are and a real good objective assessment on all of those.
Thank you. Yes.
The next meeting is March 24th.
Okay.
See you there.
Question? Ginny?
I do have actually a request. On the tour of the space planning that you're planning, could other directors be included in that invitation so that when these things are brought up to us, we have an idea of the space and the buildings that you're talking about?
You can request, who is Manuel Gomez's secretary?
So you'll email Sandra
Sandra.
Spencer.
Sandra.
She's putting it, so we won't be all doing it at once. And the first one we're looking at is Building E,
Right.
so everyone's going to, I thought they were going to band over in small groups. Remember, as directors, if we have too many of us in a little herd, that counts as a meeting, and that has to be open. So what we're doing is trying to set it up so that we educate people, they can see the facility. So if you email Sandra to be put on her list about that, then she's kind of coordinating who's going at what time, where.
Thank you. All right. Yes, Maggie?
I was going to say, you can just drive up there.
Drive up. Right.
Is the fence down? I mean, they had a gate
You
there.
can't get into Building E, but you can see
You can go
any
up.
of our other facilities. Yeah, any of our other facilities. You're obviously, as directors, you should be familiar with them.
Yeah.
Go up to the third
Right,
floor, take a
right.
look at it. Go look at the Clubhouse 1. Walk to the different meeting rooms.
Yes.
This is where people have been making blind decisions, voting blind.
I agree. All right. Thank you. Report of Communication Committee, Director Blackwell.
Okay, we met on January 24th, and I gave you that information. We will be meeting again in April, that's next month, April 21st at 1:30.
Thank you. Report of Mobility and Vehicle Committee, Director Costello.
Thank you. The committee met on February 5th, and in that meeting, some of the highlights were Mr. Carroll presented a staff report to the committee recommending the approval of to purchase 2 electric vehicles for the landscape department, and the motion was passed. So that's under, and it will be budgeted out of the 2025 miscellaneous vehicles allocation. In addition, there was a discussion regarding 2025 vehicle specifications, specifically Ford Transits. Mr. Carroll updated the committee on the purchase of e-Transits for 2025 as opposed to internal combustion gas vehicles. Additionally, we voted and approved to revise the vehicle replacement policy. Mr. Carroll recommended that the committee approve the revision to the vehicle replacement policy by increasing the life expectancy of electric vehicles from 5 to 10 years, and that was passed.
Right?
Oh, and our next meeting, hold on, our next meeting is May 7th. We meet quarterly at 1:30 in the boardroom.
Thank you. Next item is our report of the Security and Community Access Committee by Director Carson.
Yes, we did have people coming forward again to talk about creek issues and homeless and so on and so forth. And actually, the security report was an improvement on that. And so I want to reiterate what was said earlier today. There are two. One question is, are we going to continue with the traffic school? We want to find out if that's even a viable thing to continue to run. We don't get a benefit. In essence, we don't get points off our driver's license in California or anything from it. And so we're taking a look at whether it's prudent to continue to run it financially. And the other thing is that people have proposed that we be able to approve having lock boxes so that we think of these disaster things, all of these things percolate to the surface, and that was one of them, that we can have a lock box on our house where we put a key in it ourselves for people, emergency personnel, so on and so forth. So that's a topic. And I thought it was a very good idea. Mm-hmm. And of course, one of the big things for us in decision-making, both in space planning and everything overall, is the importance of getting smart cards.
Thank you.
The next hearing is scheduled for April 23rd, and this is a committee that does not meet monthly.
Okay. All right, next item is Laguna Woods Village Traffic Hearing. Director Kale is not here. And next item is report of the Disaster Preparedness Task Force. Director Willis?
Yes, that next meeting is March 25th at 9:30 in the boardroom. And things are going so far as they've installed certain antennas and things to and just better improve our communication in an emergency, both here and with the police
Okay.
or other officials.
Right. Thank you. And then finally, report of Information Technology Advisory Committee, Director Tuning.
Yes, this is the ERP project mainly, and they're working through some issues right now and implementing additional modules. I believe their year-end is their goal for completion. I think that's pretty optimistic. At the same time, I think the staff's managing the project pretty well, and I think that's going well. But I would not be surprised if we see a schedule that extends past year-end and that we see additional costs. But at the same time, that's the nature of this type of project, so don't be surprised if it doesn't go according to schedule perfectly.
Okay, all the reports are done. Any comment, questions to any committees? Hearing none. Yes, Lori.
Tom,
Uh-huh.
are all of these information technology meetings closed?
They are all closed meetings.
Right.
And why is that?
That's a good question.
Where do I take that question?
Yes.
It often involves discussing various entities that we do business with and contracts with them, and should we contract with somebody else and we adjust this or all of that. That's why it's a closed session.
And is that closed to directors?
Just a minute.
It's a GRF committee, therefore it's GRF board members and committee members only, along with staff. I think there could be a proposal to make certain parts of the meeting open, or at some point have an ITAC committee meeting that's open in addition to the closed meeting.
Okay, just a minute. Sue, did you have a question for us?
I would recommend that you contact the GRF board president. I don't know, we allow all of our members to come to our closed meetings, but because it's GRF, I would request from Cush, because I think the more people that understand it, the better, but that's my personal opinion. It is not a GRF position, but
Okay.
I'd ask.
And Charlie, and then Tony.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Yeah, the closed thing is, I've had multiple people actually talk to me about seeing every one of these meetings closed without any input from residents. There are some, again, very knowledgeable people out there that have the ability to share information with these committees and support or even bring up many different variances of what they're doing. I don't see why they can't do an open closed thing like everybody else does. And I think it should be handled that way. A suggestion from us.
Okay, Tony.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's very clear, and David Sterling was allowed in closed session. It's Section Civil
Yes.
Code 4935, and I think sometimes
Yeah.
we abuse that whole thing.
Right.
My
Yes.
opinion.
I think in our closed session this afternoon, maybe Jeff will cover that one again. But specifically, it's not because it's a secret, anything like that, but the Sterling, David Sterling requires that certain items should be in the closed session. All right, thank you. Future agenda item, approval of revision to Standard 6 air conditioning unit and heat pump will be coming back next time. Any other future agenda item to suggest, then just let me know, okay? All right, I think we are almost done. Director's comment. Is any comment from our directors?
I have one.
Yes, Sue?
I would just like to say, I really appreciate the fact that we're starting the budget with the Oversight Committee's information. It's presented there and talked about there, and then it will move up through the process, like to finance, to the general board meetings, because the last couple of years, they didn't go to the committees first, and I felt like we were chasing them. trying to get the information in. So I really appreciate that. And I'd recommend to the board members to think about what are the issues that come before us all the time that are repeat requests, so that we get that in there early. It may not be adopted, but at least it will be discussed and reviewed. So I do appreciate that, and I hope that we take this opportunity seriously.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? I have one. Oh, Nancy.
Hi, this is a PSA. The new Breeze is out, and it's really an excellent addition. And on the back cover, it says, introducing Memorial Care Medical Group 55+. They underwrite this, but this is exciting to see. You're invited to a special open house event, and it's Saturday, March 15th from 10 to 1 p.m., and it's next to the Aldi Center, where it used to be a bank. It's now the Memorial Care Center for 55+. So it says, we're excited to introduce it, our first health center dedicated to providing comprehensive health care services tailored specifically for patients 55 and above. I like to see that we all pay attention to ourselves medically. We live in a wonderful, wonderful place where you have so many social services and healthcare services and medical services within a mile. And the other thing I want to encourage all the membership to do is get out and join a club.
Thank
There's
you.
so many clubs, whether it's play cards or
Yes.
just sit and talk. It's about non-isolation and being involved, and it'll make you healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Yes, Marie.
I just wanted to express my appreciation for all of the members of this board and how much I'm learning from you, and I want everybody to know how hard people work, and these people may or may not have the same opinions, but they respect each other, and they are really good for United. Thank you.
Thank you. In terms of club, there is one advertisement here, Korean Club's big event, which is going to be held on March 19th, which is next week, Wednesday, 4 to 6 p.m., and it's Clubhouse 3, a PAC, at 2025 Korea Harmony Festival. Okay, a special opportunity to experience the beauty and strength of Korean culture. Tickets only $5. Everybody is invited, and please come and enjoy. All right. So if you need more information, there's a brochure here. I'll be there, and some MC work stuff. So anyway, I hope
One
all
of the
United
best
States
shows
will be
of the year.
Kind of. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. If there is any more comment, we will recess until what time, Paul? It's
up to you. You want to do 12:30, 12:35?
12:35. Okay, 12:35?
Sure.
We will have a lunch. Thank you very much. And then we will go on to the closed session. Thank you.
I know, it's so good, isn't it? It is good. They do a great